Hello all, and welcome to episode 5 of Sky Factory 2.5. This is Mordecai, and we are going to do a quick little tour here because I didn't get to do this last episode. I kind of moved it around and didn't get a chance to really show it off. So what I did was I moved down the lava crucibles, and I created quite a few more, as you can see. And I have our transfer node up there, and I'm coming back to a cache of cobblestone here and feeding down into these crucibles to generate lava. And then I have fluid duct bringing it back to the engines. So I've got quite a bit, and with this many engines it's keeping up much better. I've always got full pipes, and I've created a little obsidian place here where I just leave this here, and all I have to do to get obsidian is right click, it'll fill. Pretty nice. And then I have lava over here in case I need to grab it in a bucket. We'll probably change that to be a tank, but for now that will work. And also I fixed, well, I didn't fix it, but I made this dust push down into here by just disconnecting this cache. I've got enough stored there, but obviously nothing's going in there right now, so it's just sitting there. It might be collecting the overflow from this one, so if it gets in here it'll go up into that cache, but other than that there's really no dust being generated there. It's all going into the sifter. So you can see it's just collecting here right now. We're going to have to push that out, but I'm going to wait until we get our ME system set up for that. So in order to get ME, as I talked about last episode, we're going to have to automate soul sand, and I'm going to semi-automate it because I want it to feed in from the ME system ultimately as well. So I'm not going to do too much. I'll just manually put sand up top and let it generate. So this is where I'm going to do it, and I've kind of set it up. You can see I've made a little plus sign underneath there, and I've got out the back side here, I'm actually going to do water to replace our little water pool that's up there because it's a long ways away. And out the front here, I'll put the soul sand. So we're going to need a few things. I've got a lot of it made. So here's our, let's go ahead and make our aqueous accumulator first, because I'm going to need that. So here's the aqueous accumulator. And it's pretty easy to make. A couple copper gears, a servo, which I've never made before. It's really easy to make. I've already got everything for it in my inventory, so let's go ahead and make a servo. I'm going to need an extra bucket anyways. So let's make the servo first, which is here. We'll get this back into our inventory. And I've got the copper gears upstairs, I believe. I'll go get those. And I've got glass. I'm going to need some basic machine frames. So that should be fairly easy to make as well. I think I have everything for those. I do. So I'll make a machine frame. And the rest of this stuff should be fairly easy. So let's go get our gears, which I have up here. Oops, don't need to put that there. Couple gears, and we'll just go here and make it real quick. I think that should be everything. Yep. So there's our aqueous accumulator. The way I've got this set up is I'm going to be sending our outputs this direction through this side and that side, and then I'm going to have our infinite water blocks, or our water blocks, right next to it. So I'm going to put our accumulator down here, and I'm going to reset the outputs. And I want an output on the top, and out the back here is where I'm going to put my water. So I need to rotate it, if it'll let me. It won't, so let's do it this way. I'll come down here and I will place the accumulator. It honestly doesn't matter, as long as the side that I want to output on, that'll work just fine. So now we'll take the output to the right, so then we'll be sending output that way. And then while we're down here, we'll go ahead and put our fluid duct in there. And then we'll put a fluid duct up top. And fluid duct on top of here. So there's our accumulator. And we need to get a couple buckets of water around it, which I am short a bucket. So let's go ahead and make another bucket. And you know what, I'm going to make two just so I can get it a little faster up top, because I really only need two for this accumulator to work. And I'm going to go up top and get 2 buckets from our infinite water source, and then hopefully we won't have to come back up here for water. and I'll show you my plan around that. There's one, there's two. So I have 2 water buckets, and we'll take this back down. It's kind of my shortcut. It's dropping down right now. And we want one on this side, and we want one here. So that should start making water relatively quickly. It is, it's pumping it out, and you can see this pipe's filling up with 9,000 millibuckets. These are starting to fill up, which is exactly what we want. Oh, another thing we're going to need to do quicker, or sooner than later, is get this turning into mycelium. And that you get by sifting sand, which I just happen to have a sand sifter right here, and you get these ancient spores. And we'll just spread those around here, which will start turning this to witch water. And that will spread on its own just like grass. I think most people know how that works. So that's transforming. This is not yet, but once this spreads around, that'll start transforming. That's how we'll get witch water. And you know what? Let's take our item ducts. That will be an output. And what I want to do... Did I get that up there? I did. I'm hoping to be able to put this... You know what? I can come this way off of here. There we go. And we're just going to take our item ducts and make sure we hit the bottom of all of those. We're kind of making a square underneath. Alright, so those are all connected, and then we have servos. So servo there, and we're going to turn that on. Same thing, low control. These are item ducts, so this is going to pull out whatever is created in this, which in this case is going to be soul sand. So that's on. And that's on. Okay, so now we've got liquid duct coming up from the aqueous accumulator. It's filling the buckets. We have mycelium that's turning it into witch water, and now we have to feed sand down into it, which all we have to do for that is put this up here, like so. And then we'll take, we've got an output down here for when it's created. So that's where our soul sand will be dropped off, and then up top I'm going to put another chest. This is all going to be replaced with ME feeding and collecting once we have enough nether quartz coming in to be able to create ME items well. And one more piece I want. Let's go ahead and put some sand in there, and we'll show you how it's working. So for now we'll put one thing of sand. You know what? We can put a few more. Why not? Okay. So here's that, and just fill this up with sand. So all that should get converted. So once these get done, once I put this up here, because I've got to get a servo to pull the sand out of that, it'll pull pieces of sand, and it should take them, we'll see it feed down, and it'll feed them into available witch water locations, which turns that into soul sand, which then takes that and feeds it down into our chest. So you should see that will go down in. And as this comes around, these will all automatically be witch water. This is automatically converting again, which is pretty cool. And as they transform, we'll get soul sand in here. So we're automatically making that soul sand. And that will make it where it'll be much easier. Once we get this, we'll just feed stacks of it into our extra sieve over here. This will be our soul sand processing. So if I want, I'll take my soul sand out of here, put it in there, and that's where we'll end up getting our nether quartz. And you get one for pretty much one. Almost every time you'll get 1 or 2 pieces of nether quartz. So it's pretty quick at producing it. See, there's some nether quartz right there, and that's what we're going to need to do ME. So we're in a good shape there. Let me go ahead and create the tank as well. This is just to hold water, so I have water down here if I need it, and I don't have to keep going up to that infinite water pool. So I believe it's 4 pieces of obsidian, so I need 1 more, which I have, and I also need glass panels, or glass panes, which is just like so. So then if I bring up a tank, these things are great, and actually we'll be using them quite a bit But there we go. So there's a tank. And I like it because you can make... See right there? It kind of looks like a clear block. But it fills up. You can walk over it. No problem. And then it's pretty much just going to be like a little infinite water source for us. And if we want to, we can just kind of walk up to it with our bucket, fill it up. And that will fill right back up. So it's very useful. And once this comes around, like I said, we'll have all of these making soul sand. We already have some more coming in here. And for now, we'll just manually transfer it. But once we get ME set up, which will be probably our next step, we'll start towards automating the putting this in and taking it out from the ME system, as opposed to doing it into chests like this. But for now, that'll just have to work. So the next thing I want to do is I want to create a few more machines so I can go ahead and get better power conduit or flux duct. I need a magma crucible and I need a fluid transposer for those. So I can go ahead, I think I have everything I need to go ahead and make those as well. One of the things we're going to have to do for a magma crucible is get nether brick. And we're going to do that by getting these types of nether bricks, which I think you get by smelting netherrack. And I just happen to have 8 pieces of netherrack in my inventory, so I'm going to put them in here and let those smelt. And we should get nether brick. And I also, which I think I can do basic machines on these, which is enough for what I need to do right now. I can always upgrade them. So I need 2 Invar gears, and I also need this leadstone energy cell frame, which is just 4 lead surrounded by glass and redstone. And I have everything I need for that too. So let's go ahead and make a redstone block. And I just want one of those. I don't want to use all my redstone up. I have glass, and I'm going to need lead for that, which I believe I have some upstairs. There's a lead block, which will work just fine. And I have a crafting table right over here that I will use. Still in the ground. And I'm also going to need a gold ingot for that, which I happen to have one of those too. And got... So, our nether brick should be done. We're going to need a basic machine frame, and we're going to need 2 Invar gears. I have gears made as well. And our nether brick should be done. So there's our nether bricks. Oh, I didn't get them. Alright, like that. So 2 nether bricks, machine frame is all I'm really missing. Which I just need some iron for. Which I have ready to go. I believe there is an iron ingot in the machine here. So it's good to go. We'll get our last ingot. And make our basic machine frame so we can make our magma crucible. Oh, I dropped my 10 gears off. You know what, while I'm up here, I'm just going to grab another 4 iron ingots real fast, just so we can go ahead and make 2 of these, because we're going to need one for the next one too. So 2 tin gears, and then we've got plenty of glass. One more ingot, and that'll be 8. Then we can go ahead and make our fluid transposer as well, which that will make it where we can create destabilized redstone. So 2 of those, and then we should be able to make this. And then our fluid transposer is the other machine we really need here. 2 copper gears, machine frame, bucket, redstone transmission coil, which I think I also need gold for that. So let's get that real quick. I've got a gold block here for that, so that'll speed that up. I've got what I need. I've got an extra bucket. I need 2 copper gears. Got my extra bucket. And I've got my glass. So we should be good. We'll go down and then we'll set those up real quick. Okay, so we want this. Oop, we want this. I didn't mean to make all those, but we'll need them. And there we go. So we have a fluid transposer, we have a magma crucible. So what that comes down to is you just want to be able to set them. Now the biggest thing about this is, let's go ahead and lift that up, because I need to be able to magma crucible here. Let's turn all the outputs off. Same thing with this. There we go. And then we'll set our sieve on the end so we still have it available for making our nether quartz. So our magma crucible we're going to use to melt redstone down. So you put redstone in here, and I just used all mine up from the reception coil, but you put it in here and melt it down into destabilized redstone, which I have some here. I think I can do it this way. And then what I can do is, if I put the input on this to the right, okay, and I put the output on this to the left, it's going to put it into here. So then what I want to do is I'll put... That allows me to make my redstone flux duct, which is what I really need. So if I take this energy flux duct, which I think I have what I need for that too. Let's just go ahead and make some of it real quick. I've got some electrum upstairs. This will allow me much better power spread. So I've got an electrum block right there. And I'm going to take enough of that where I can make plenty of it. Come down here and make empty redstone flux duct. Like so. And then I can take this and just stick it in here, and it will make redstone energy flux duct, which is a much better version of this leadstone flux duct. So I've got that, which is going to allow me to set up my power much better for the ME system. And now we'll come back and we'll actually start working on making the ME parts, since we've got everything we need. But we're going to have to get a little bit of this made and sifted, which probably we have quite a bit more. So there's 45. We'll drop that in the sifter. And we'll come back in a little bit and we will get started on the ME system to simplify storage. Alright, we are back, and you can see we've had quite a few cows starting to spawn. That's one of the reasons we spread all the grass around, plus to give us some room to run. But Fluid Cows is one of the modded packs that's installed with Sky Factory. So I've started collecting these, and I've started collecting a few of the fluids in tanks. So that's where this has come from. You just take a bucket and you can harvest them. So like I got an emerald cow, which is pretty cool, so I can get emeralds that way. Fairy is a pretty good metal, so I've got that one here. Cryotheum, there's another one that came in, so I can use that for some of the really high-end energy ducts. And then I got some molten steel as well, which can be difficult to make, so it's nice to have that. So I've been harvesting those a little bit, as you can see, and we've had a few show up as we've been getting ready for ME. And I've also done a little bit of cleaning up downstairs with the chisel. This is still just factory blocks, but I used the obsidian chisels, which are very easy to make. There's a recipe right there, really simple obsidian and a stick. And I used that to clean up a little bit. So it's still the same blocks, I've just kind of varied them to give me some visual interest. But now we're going to get started on ME. I had to go ahead and put some chests in here because we were filling it up quick, and as you can see, these are starting to fill up. So we're going to create the ME system to store all of this into a central place, so we don't have to run upstairs so much, and our inventory will be one big shared inventory with terminals throughout our base. So let's go ahead and get started on that. I have created a lot of the stuff ahead of time in this chest. You can see there's a ton of different things. We'll go over a few basic recipes for it, but so you're going to need pretty much all you see here. These are normal Minecraft blocks, but we do have some silicon from Ender.io, which is useful because you have to make your processing units for applied energistics. These are all made the same way depending on your central what you put in the center. So if you put a quartz knife here, you do this, and then you take your silicon. If you were to put gold in here, it'll make a gold logic circuit. If you put Certus quartz, you get the printed calculation circuit, which that's what these are all made from. And then if you put a diamond in the middle, you get the higher tier one, which is this one right here, the engineering processor. And then you just have to cook them in a furnace. So I've done a lot of that ahead of time, so we're not having to watch a furnace cook. So what we're going to start with is we're going to start with an ME controller, and if we see something that is unusual, I'll just explain how it's made while we do it, so there's no questions there. So let's bring up the ME controller pattern, which is this block right here. And you've got your flux crystals, and you've got skystone as part of this. So skystone is just something that's sifted from dust, and you get this skystone dust, and then all you have to do to make skystone is go to a lava bucket and then right-click it, and you can get it just like obsidian with water. You just click it to get it out, and as it fills up. So I just sit here and make skystone. I've got plenty of that, and the flux crystals are also made from nether quartz. That's one of the reasons we needed nether quartz. So if you go to this recipe, you just need redstone, nether quartz, and Certus quartz to make the flux crystals, and we use that for just about everything. So the controller is no exception. So let's bring up our controller again, and we will make that block. And I might make more than one, just because this is the basis for everything. This is where all your channels are run from and everything, so it's important to have those. And what I want to do with these is I'm going to set this up right in the center of the room. So I'm going to use this as a guide. This comes down to the center. The center this way is this line. So we're going to come here, and it's right where I'm standing now. So we're going to come straight down. But you know what? I'm going to need a pickaxe can harvest that. I'm going to need to run power to it first. So let's get that, and I've got my power duct. So I'm going to come in this way, and it's fine if those get powered twice. This is all going to get moved. So that powers up, and I'm not sure if we're going to keep up. We'll see. If it starts pulling too much, we might have to create more power, but I'll do that off camera. And we'll go ahead and put another one here. Those can stack, I think, up to 7 high, and what I'm going to do is make a pillar straight up of ME controllers. The next thing we're going to need is an ME drive. I think they're called ME drives. Yep, right there. And they're pretty easy to make as well. ME glass cable. We already know how to make these. So ME glass cable is just quartz fiber, which is just either of the dusts, which you can get this type, the Certus dust, from sifting dust. So I recommend you use that and then put glass around it to make them. We have that handy, so we can make a little of that just to show you how it's done. So let's go in here, and we'll make it there. And then already put the Certus in there. So really, that's all there is to it. And then we're going to make some cables, glass cables from that. So these are going to have to come out. And you take your quartz fiber, you take your flux crystal, and that makes glass cables. We'll make a couple more because we're going to need them. So that is all we need to make the drive. We'll make one of those. And the drive is great, but it has no storage built in. So we're going to put this here for now, and we're going to have to connect that with a cable. We could set it directly against it as well, but I want to be able to run a cable off of this. So what we can do for that, most of my ME cable I want to be conduit, but I think near here it's going to be just normal ME cable. So we'll make some smart cables also, which are a few upgrades in, but they tell you how many channels are being used, and that's very important. So we're going to make Fluix smart cable, which means we need to make covered cable, which is just the glass cable we just made, and some wool. So let's go ahead and make that. I've got some wool in here that we made already from string. If you also got sheep by this point, you could use that, but I use string for it, and we will make that into covered cables. And you know what? I'm only going to make a few of those. And then our smart cable, you just add a redstone and a glowstone to that. So we'll just do it this way. That's good, and then we'll go ahead and clean up our inventory just a bit because we've been taking a lot out. So there we go. And sort that. Okay, so I've got smart cables now, so if we take this smart cable and connect here, it will connect it in, and that drive is now connected in, but we don't have anything to put in. I did create one drive to put in, but we'll go through the process of that one time real quick just because it's kind of a critical part of it. But here's our storage is right here, and I'm going to do 16K cells right now because I've got enough resources to do it. So I want to make one more 16K storage cell because there's a limitation on these, and they only have up to 63 types, and you can see it at the bottom of that tooltip. So that's 63 separate items that you can store. So we're going to run over 63 really fast. So I want to make 2 of those so we've at least got some capacity. So what you want to do is come here and type 1K, and this is going to be the base building block. And you can see I've got some of those made as well for this, but I'm also going to make a fluid storage component, which is the same thing, it just uses lapis. So if I bring up that recipe, it's like this, and I need 9 of them. So that's going to make it where I can make everything that I need to go up to the next level. So let's make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've got 9 of those, and let's go ahead and take our 9 1K storage. So this is for storage of items, this is for storage of fluids. I'm going to need fluids to store lava, and I'm going to need fluids to store essence because my next thing is going to be a mob spawner. So we're going to be using it for that. So now, if you want to go up, you type, I'm going to go ahead and type 16K and just work my way down. So here's your 16K regular storage component. And then what we want to do is make 3 of these to make the 16K. So we're going to make 3 of these, which is just the calculation processor and everything we need. So that's why we made 9, so we could make 3 total. And then we're going to do the same thing with fluid. And ultimately, we're going to automate this because we don't want to have to create these every time because it's a pain. You can see it's a pain. This is just to go to 16K. These things can go way up in size. I mean, just to give you an idea, there's 64K. There are steps above that with some of the extra cells mods. So you don't want to be doing this manually every time. So let's go ahead and make this. There's our 16K storage, and then let's go ahead and make our 16K fluid. There we go. So now we want to put those into actual cells. So here's a cell, and you could do an empty cell on this, or you can just go ahead and make it like this. And I think we've got enough ports class to do it. So there's our 16K storage cell, and then we'll do our 16K fluid storage, which we are actually missing a couple tanks for. I have the stuff ready for that as well. So we need 3 portable tanks, which is 3 copper ingots, and glass, which we have. So let's go ahead and take this. We'll make 3 of those. And I think we've got flux dust already, so this should be good. So we now have that, and we also have our other 16K ME storage cell, and these all go in the drive. So we add these in, and these can now accept items, basically. So they're online, you see the green light. That means we can use those for items. Now we're going to want to go ahead and create a crafting terminal and a couple import buses. So that's so we can pull items in. So the goal for this episode will be to pull the items from these chests in. So let's make a few import buses. Now that we've got storage online and we've got the controller online, we'll go ahead and make a regular ME import bus. So we need an annihilation core for that, which is fairly simple to make, and I've made a few of them. So you use your logic processor. Your flux dust is just by grinding up flux crystals, or you can also make it with this recipe, and I recommend going with this recipe because you have a lot of this stuff already. You could also, if you have an excess of crystals, just grind them up in a pulverizer, like so, and that'll also make flux dust. So let's go ahead. We've got these annihilation cores made, and I also have, here's annihilation cores, and I also have formation cores, which we're going to be using for export buses. So the way that ME works, everything that's exported uses a formation core, everything that's imported uses an annihilation core as part of the recipe. So you're going to need a bunch of those. So let's make a couple import buses, and you also need a sticky piston and an iron, which I've already made. One tip on this, raw rubber is a great way to make sticky pistons in the mod pack, so you don't have to get slime for it. So that's handy. So let's make a few of these. And we'll also make the export buses since we're here. We will make a few of those. And we also have fluid. Really, we need fluid import at this point because we're going to be using them. So I'll go ahead and make a fluid import bus as well. It's very similar. Couple fluid import buses and a couple fluid export buses, just to give us fluid storage. Should have probably made them both at the same time, but no big deal. All right, so we're good there, and we've got some smart cable. So what I want to do now is we've got our import bus, and luckily we already have two well-positioned import items, so we'll start sucking those into the system. And let's go ahead and get a crafting terminal made as well, and I'm going to place that, you know what, we're just going to come this way right now. This is not the permanent place for it, but we're going to go ahead and get this importing. That should start pulling it into the system as well, and I can put my terminal along here. Like I said, this is probably going to all get moved around off camera, so next time we come in, I'm going to have this cleaned up quite a bit, and I won't do that on camera because it's going to be boring. Let me make a crafting terminal, though, because that's a way that we can see what's in there. There are a bunch of different terminals, but we'll do a crafting terminal, and then we'll call this episode done, because this is going to be over time. So crafting, if I spelled it right, and right there. So what we need for that is we need an illuminated panel, which I should have everything for that. We're low on quartz glass, so let's bring that recipe up. Got that, and then we'll bring up our illuminated panel. If I can get to the recipe. Wherever it went, there it is. There we go. Why is, oh, because of these. So I've got an illuminated panel now. Get that out of there. And ME terminal. I've got everything I need for that. And I need a crafting table. So we'll get that real fast. Oops. I can put this here for now. I don't really need torches. Crafting table's done. And good to go. So now, if we set this here, it'll come online. And you can look at this, and our inventory is starting to fill up. You can use this as a crafting table. And what we're ultimately going to do is I'll have this to replace my crafting tables throughout, and we'll have it where we've got a terminal upstairs. Ultimately, everything's going to get pulled to this central inventory, though. So, and if you look at this, we've already got 17 types used. By the time that gets done, we're going to have quite a bit of volume in here. So, we're going to call the episode there. We've got our basic ME system set up. I'm going to do some moving around of this, and then when we start up next time, we're probably going to start a mob spawner because we have a need for ender pearls more than anything. So a mob spawner will be a very good place to get that started, and we will go from there. So thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time.